On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we kick off non-metal March. Well, we kind of already sort of in a way, but not really. Because the last one came out in March, but...
And it was sort of metal adjacent. It wasn't really...
Yeah. Okay, the intro, the intro is dragging on way too long.
Let's kick this.
We're talking about Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. Hi, everyone. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Wow.
I don't know why.
What happened to your voice?
Who are you talking to? What do you mean?
What happened to your voice, OJ?
I don't know. I had a little...
Oh, you just had a thing in your throat.
I had to phlegm. It was...
Okay. Yeah, we're two professional broadcasters.
Can you tell?
Yeah. Professional. And we both like metal and other kinds of music, too.
Sure.
And we like to talk about it. And March is one of the months of the year we decide to talk about stuff that is not metal that we enjoy thoroughly. Smashing Pumpkins is kind of a slightly... They have a couple metal songs.
Yeah, and it's earlier than this.
Yeah.
It's not really on this album. It's
Bullet with Butterfly Wings is I would call that a metal song.
Sure, that's after this.
Yeah, that's on the next album.
Okay.
So, and I think I don't know if I've heard entirely. I was just reading. I should have taken time to listen to it, but I believe Everything is Nothing is Everything. What the hell is that song? There's this, anyway, that one's also kind of a metal song.
Sure.
But at any rate, Smashing Pumpkins is decidedly not a metal band.
Right.
We'll talk about a little bit more about them a bit later on.
Rock and roll,
alternative rock, perhaps. Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Have I done anything? I can't really think of anything that I've done. I rewatched Ken Burns' Vietnam War.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just because it's really good, and I just wanted to rewatch it and reabsorb that information.
Anything Ken Burns does is fantastic.
Good. Yeah, it's good stuff. I feel like we've been talking about, or I've been talking about Ken Burns for a couple of weeks
for
now,
a year,
because I've been on a Ken Burns bender.
Sure,
I've been on a Burnster,
a burner.
You've
been on a burner.
But yeah, I can't really think of anything in particular that has happened to me in the last week, other than we, wrapped up another basketball tournament.
Sure.
And I'm happy to have a few days away from that, at least until next Monday.
Yeah. So, it's going to be a Class B boys?
Boys Region 6 coming up. So the games at the very least, should be good.
Sure.
They should be good games, and we shouldn't have to worry about, clearing spots, because since they are, higher level play, there should hopefully be plenty of timeouts called.
Yeah. See, and in those games, there's more, the coaches are calling for more timeouts.
Yeah, because that's been the biggest problem so far with these is coaches, especially if a game is pretty lopsided, coaches don't call timeouts.
No.
And so, we end up having to play a whole bunch of spots to make up at the end. And it's annoying. I don't like having to do that. So
brought to you by these 85 fine sponsors.
Yes. Well, I wish we had that many to choose from almost.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. We don't have quite that many, but
here's 8 in a row from Cenex.
Yeah. Cenex. Get your gasoline.
Yeah.
Here. And right here. Nowhere else. But yeah, other than that, I've kind of had a slow week. Both my D&D engagements have been canceled. The scheduling just didn't work out for people this week. So it's just been kind of boring. Oh, both of us, here's something we have in common this week.
Oh, yeah.
We both purchased Doom.
Like the 2016 version.
Yeah, the 2016 Doom. I purchased it for the second time.
I'd never played.
Yeah, you'd never played that one before. I purchased it on Steam. They're having deals, I guess, because the new one is coming out later on this month.
They want to get you rehooked.
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely am.
Well, yeah.
And especially with me now, like having gone from being on the Xbox 360 to being on the mouse and keyboard, it's almost like a world of difference.
Sure.
Like it is very, I think the mouse and keyboard fits Doom very, very well. Not that it doesn't also work pretty good on controller with analog sticks.
Which I'm playing it on the PS4.
Yeah. How's that going, by the way? Like when do you find time to play that, since it is so hyper violent?
It is hyper violent. You know, it's funny. It's hyper violent, but it's not. I mean, you're
well, because you're killing demons.
Right.
They're
monsters, and you know, I don't feel so bad if my son turns around and I'm killing something that was just trying to firebomb me. You know?
It's not like the scene in Modern Warfare 2 where you participate in a massacre of civilians at an airport.
Right. Try not to do that.
Yeah.
In real life either.
Yeah. And you know, in Doom, they're all sort of grotesque monsters or demonic zombies that are, and
it's like a nightmare situation.
Yeah.
Sure. But
it's definitely a lot of potentially disturbing imagery in the game. Lots of, mutilated corpses and whatnot. That might be, on a closer inspection.
Sure.
Possibly somewhat disturbing to a 9-year-old.
Right.
But
who's in the room when I'm playing? Well, unless he's gone to bed. When he's got to go off to bed. Now I'm no longer playing Stardew Valley.
Now it's Doom.
Now it's Doom.
Turn off Stardew Valley. Yeah. Turn on Doom.
Make mayonnaise. Stop game.
Yeah. That's the last thing you do before bed.
Stardew make Valley. Mayonnaise.
Make some mayonnaise.
It just sounds just gross.
I made mayonnaise the other night. I made mayonnaise with your mom. It was really fun. We whipped the eggs and then we put the vinegar in. It was great.
It's in a jar.
Yeah. But Doom is just it is.
Well, it's a fantastic game.
It's a fantastic game, and it is the most, I think maybe the most violent video game I've ever played.
Sure. In
a lot of ways. And I've played some very violent, very gory video games in my time.
Like any of the Call of Duty games.
Not even like Gears of War. Like Gears of War sort of brings the gore up to a new level. And like Dead Space games and stuff like that. Like those are very gory. But the pure sort of joy and exhilaration in Doom is on a different sort of level, because like Doom is a horror game where you are the antagonist.
You are the antagonist.
You are the horror antagonist, and the demons are the terrified creatures running away from you.
Yeah, they're trying to get away.
Especially by like once you get a lot of power-ups and stuff, like this, like around 2/3 into the game, depending upon what sort of power-ups you've chose, and what rune trials you've completed, you very much become an unstoppable killing machine.
Yeah.
If you're playing on the hardest difficulty, you certainly can still die, but it's like the purpose of the game is to ease you into the most violent power fantasy you could possibly have. And for that reason, I enjoy it. I don't know if it's entirely healthy, but
no, it's healthy.
It's I mean, you're expressing those urges in a fictional setting. So
exactly.
But and like the main character. So if you don't know anything about Doom, what the fuck are you doing? It's like the most popular first person shooter that's ever been made. But as a franchise anyway. So Doom 2016 is a reboot, or soft reboot, I suppose, of the original series of games made by id Software in the 90s and early 2000s. Of course, there's Doom 1 and 2, which were massively groundbreaking and extremely popular pieces of the first couple levels were available as shareware for free, and then you could buy the other stuff. Like, it's revolutionary game. It would go on to make the Quake series, and then in 2004 they made Doom 3,
which is weird,
killed all of the momentum of the franchise.
Sure.
Both in marketing and sales terms and in gameplay terms, because it went from this extremely fast-paced shooter to a very slow survival horror game. And that kind of turned a lot of people off. And so Doom...
I played that one.
Yeah. Doom lost a lot of its momentum as a franchise. And then in the late 2000s, id Software had been acquired by Bethesda, or at least had come under Bethesda's wing. They would publish their games. They made Rage, which was... then
Rage 2, eventually.
But then in 2016, they came out with just titled Doom. It wasn't Doom 4. It was just Doom. And in the game, you play as a character known as the Doom Slayer.
Yes.
Who looks very much like the previous protagonists of the games. He is not entirely human, as it would seem, and was locked away by demons, potentially for centuries, who knows how long. He is basically their boogeyman, who has committed... Baba Yaga. Yeah, he is the John Wick to their Russian mob, essentially.
Yeah.
And they had locked him away after they collapsed an entire temple on his head and locked him away. And a corporation called the Union Aerospace Corporation was experimenting. They figured out how to get to hell because it's a separate dimension. It's not necessarily religious hell, although they're kind of the same thing.
Right. Same concept.
So they get to hell and they want to be able to use energy from hell to solve an energy crisis on Earth. They find the Doomslayer's casket, and the leader of the UAC brings the Doomslayer to their facility on Mars. And you start the game, the Doomslayer wakes up, his casket is open, there are zombies around him, and through sheer force of pure fucking masculinity, he snaps his chains and picks up a pistol and starts
shooting.
Starts fucking killing everything in sight, and it does not stop until the game is over with. And it is glorious, and I love it. I love everything about it. Most of all, and especially for the two of us, is the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, great soundtrack.
Fuck, the soundtrack is great. It is by a Australian composer named Mick Gordon,
who made the soundtrack for the new game as well.
Yes, and also has done the soundtrack for some of the new Wolfenstein games. And he incorporated heavy metal. The soundtrack in and of itself is very industrial sort of metal with lots of sounds, distorted sounds of chainsaws and electronic bits, and mixed in with extremely heavy riffs played on a 9-string guitar. It is so perfect for Doom and the pace of the game. And it turns some of the bigger battles in the game, especially, about at the midway point, once you've got your weapons and your abilities and power-ups and stuff like that, about midway through the game, the soundtrack sort of turns every combat into this whirling ballet of gore. And it is so awesome. And I'm so excited for Doom Eternal. I am incredibly, incredibly excited.
You didn't pre-order or anything like that, did you?
I have not.
No.
I kind of, as a principle, I don't really pre-order. I'm especially with games that I'm worried about, although I tend not to play games that I feel like I have a very good sense of watching a trailer and going like, that's going to be shit.
Yep.
I feel like I have a very keen sense for that, of watching trailers for games and going like, this is going to be a disaster. I'm not putting money forth for that until it comes out and find out one way or the other. Like when I saw trailers for like Fallout 76, I didn't straight up think, oh, that's going to be a disaster. But I watched the trailers and I went, okay, Bethesda has a really bad track record with bugs, and now they're making a multiplayer game. We'll see.
That's only multiplayer.
Yeah. We'll see about this. I feel that way about movies too. Like that's not as big of a boast, though. I think with movies, I think any sensible person can watch a trailer for a movie and decide whether or not the movie is going to be shit.
Hey, that's the whole movie right there.
Yeah, that looks like a giant piece of trash. So I for a game like Doom Eternal from a company like id, especially considering what the previous one was, I wouldn't be as concerned, but I'm buying it on Steam anyway, so it'll be available and ready to download.
Sure.
I don't anticipate it being too much larger than the first one, because the first one for me downloaded in like an hour.
Yeah, and I have the trickle internet. I'm basically dial up at my house.
So yeah, that took you the better part
9
of the day.
hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got bachelor pad internet here.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It was pretty darn quick. I also don't have 3 other people using phones and computers and whatnot.
Which I do, yeah.
So it was just my phone and my computer pulling that bandwidth. So yeah, I'm remarkably hyped for Doom Eternal. I'm very, very, very excited. And ready to rip and tear. I'm fucking ready to rip and tear, man. I can feel the testosterone coursing through my veins. Oh my God.
Yeah. And neither of us have a Nintendo, so
Animal Crossing is
probably not the thing we're looking forward to.
I can't fulfill. I feel like I would like Animal Crossing.
Have you never played Animal Crossing?
I've never played Animal Crossing.
I played it on the GameCube.
I guess we had a Wii. I don't know if there was ever an Animal Crossing on the Wii.
I don't know. Was there a Wii Animal Crossing? But they are Wii animals.
Yeah. Hey, it probably was. But I never had a GameCube. So like the original Animal Crossing, I never got into. That was on GameCube, right?
Yeah. It was on GameCube. I had that. I had Bounty Hunter. Yeah. Which is a Boba Fett game.
Yep.
That was great.
Boba Fett, where? But yeah, I never had a GameCube, so I that's a whole generation of Nintendo games that I missed out on, and I still don't have a Switch. Sure. Just because I've kind of decided that outside of like Breath of the Wild and probably Super Mario Odyssey, I don't know if it would be worth it for me to buy if there's like only 2 games on it that I really want.
I mean, Mario Kart is always a great game.
There is also Mario Kart. Uh-huh. But the thing for me is like, especially with Mario Kart, is those are games that are the most fun with other people.
Yeah, and you have no one in your life.
Yeah, other than you, you're the only person that like comes over here regularly.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if Mario Kart would really be worth it for me.
And actually, on the Switch, you can play it console to console. You can do it.
Yeah.
Like I have friends in Bismarck.
Yeah, you can play multiplayer games.
Sure.
You can do Mario Kart as a multiplayer game, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if a Nintendo Switch would really be worth it for me, because part of the appeal is also you can pick it up and take it anywhere, and it's like you don't go anywhere. I never leave. So. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someday price goes down or something. Sure. I don't know. But the thing we were talking about is that Animal Crossing New Horizons is coming out on the same day as Doom Eternal, and the memes that have resulted from that are amazing.
The Doomslayer picking up his copy and
hanging out with Isabel, and like it's great. And the thing is Doom's official Twitter account has also been loving them, sure, and has been posting them as well. And I think id Software has basically said, the ball's in Nintendo's court. We love this shit. So if they want to do something, let's do it.
Wow. Can you imagine a cross game? I mean, something.
Can you imagine the Doomslayer in Super Smash Brothers?
Of course. That'd be great.
Like he comes up against Star Fox and just fucking smashes his head down into his spine, fucking tears his arm off and smacks his face with it. Oh, Jesus. You play on the Doomslayer's map, which is just it's the cover, the classic cover of Doom, which is the giant skull and the sea of lava where he's surrounded, and you're just like on top of bones and everything's on fire and you're in hell. That would be amazing. Nintendo crossovers with Doom Eternal. I think Doom Eternal is being released on the Switch.
Is it really?
At the very least, the 2016 game is on the Switch.
Awesome.
It probably kind of looks like trash because the Nintendo Switch is not very powerful.
No, it's not meant for that sort of thing.
Yeah, Nintendo's consoles have never really been all that powerful hardware wise.
Right, they do their own thing.
Yeah,
really.
That's not the type of games that you buy a Nintendo console for.
The Doomslayer goes fishing for dace.
That would be great.
That would be awesome.
I just want to see this massive roided out dude just like doing just all sorts of cute shit. I don't know why. Just look, it can't all be ripping and tearing. Sometimes you have to stop and pet the bunnies. It's
a metaphor for life.
I think that was in like the pre-roll for Doom 2 originally. Was the only history they give you about the Doom Slayer is that he's, a space marine and demons killed his pet bunny.
Right.
And he vowed revenge and has been slaughtering them ever since.
Right.
And they've left room in the new games where that might still be canon. We have no idea exactly what his history is. He might be the original Doom guy that's been dimension hopping and ended up in a different version of the world and time. Like, that's entirely possible. But wow, we've really prattled on about Doom
a bit. That's fine.
A bit.
I got a haircut.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I had to burp there.
Yeah,
you got a big boy haircut.
Yeah, I did. I look like an adult now.
You got male haircut number 3.
I did.
Which it's a decent haircut.
Sure.
Like, people make fun, but it's
I don't have to do anything with it. I like that. I mean,
yeah.
I had hair down to my waist, and in retrospect, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, that's just got to be a fucking hassle.
And why? You had to wash it all the time. Like,
I had hair down to my neck, and it started to be like it was a pain to take care of. I've never grown all of my hair out that long before. It was just the middle section. I had a really, really super long undercut.
Right.
And I've considered like maybe I should grow all my hair out that long sometime, but no.
I remember how many times I'd set it on fire. Here I am smoking something at one point, and now my head. Someone's having to hit me in the head with a brick.
Dude, your hair's on fire.
Oh no, man! Or what's really great is when you get into your car and
your hair gets caught in the door.
Yeah, you shut it in the door. Somebody over here in the passenger seat says something. You turn your head to go, "Oh fuck!"
Oh my god. So speaking of back in the day when you had super long hair, say the year is 1991. You are 17 years old. What are you doing when Siamese Dream comes out?
What am I doing?
We're discussing the album now, by the way.
Right. If you didn't clue in on that, what was I doing at that time? I don't remember what I was doing. I don't think I got this when it came out. I think I got it like a year or two after it came out.
Okay.
Because I think there might have been a girl involved who said, I really love the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, listen to the Smashing Pumpkins. And they were, I imagine, a band you would have heard of because they were insanely popular in the wake of this album coming out and would continue to be throughout the 90s.
I was already aware of them from their previous album.
What was your thoughts on them? What did you think of them before you listened to Siamese Dream?
I don't know. I thought it was probably some sort of crap I didn't care for.
You thought maybe they were a little too mainstream?
Yeah, a little mainstream, a little
not heavy enough.
Not really. It wasn't something marketed toward me.
Yeah, it was definitely like this album was insanely popular after it came out.
Oh yeah.
Like part of the story of their recording of this is that Gish came out. It was very popular.
It wasn't as huge as this.
It wasn't huge, but it was unexpectedly big. They put it together and it came out and like people actually listened to it and they're like, oh, okay. And then people in magazines started calling them like the next Nirvana. And Billy Corgan in particular felt an insane amount of pressure to make this extremely good album. It paid off, but apparently the recording process was a nightmare.
Yeah, well, it was. And the funny thing is that what you're listening to when you hear all this is last minute shit.
Yeah,
it's all stuff that was done.
It took them
the
4
11th
months, and they spent $250,000 on making this album.
Right.
It's a great album. I don't know if it's worth $250,000. Like, it's a really good album, but like they had the same problems as almost every other popular alternative rock band in the early 90s had, which is some of them were on lots of drugs. Some of them were very depressed and angry, and some of them were both.
Yeah.
And like the production was just fraught with challenges, and it was rewarded with extreme success. But like Billy Corgan kind of established a reputation that I think has followed him throughout the entire rest of his career as being a bit of an asshole.
Yeah. And he hasn't really done anything to allay that.
Yeah. I think he knows he's an asshole.
He's well aware, and he's sort of lived it. You know, he's owned it.
And so, yeah, this kind of is really what cemented the Smashing Pumpkins as a part of American rock culture, I think. So like, what did you think? Maybe there's a girl involved and you listen to Siamese Dream. What were your like? That's what you were saying, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I listened to it. I went, wow, this is actually pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's weird because it reminds me a little bit of like, it's very shoegazy.
It is very shoegazy.
It reminds me of I wanted to say My Dying Bride. That's
My Bloody Valentine.
My Bloody Valentine. Fuck.
My Stuttering Valentine.
My Stuttering Valentine. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of My Bloody Valentine with more rock put into it.
Right, more coherent.
Yeah. Yes, it's more coherent.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really, really good album. It's fairly long, although I don't have a very good handle on how long it is because the version on Spotify is a double album with a lot of like demo songs on it.
Those are not something I've listened to really. I've listened to it on CD. I've owned it on CD a couple of times, and that's how I know it.
Have you like why? So why does one buy something on CD multiple times? Because the previous ones have worn out.
Yeah, how do you wear out a CD? Well, because
I'm sure, like you could wear. Like I remember playing a lot of games when I was young, and
scratch
like
the shit out of it.
Yeah, the discs would get the shit scratched out of them. So
I remember seeing the cover of this having what it looked like at some point. Maybe I got drunk and barfed on it.
That's an album with history, right?
That's an album with history because
it's got character.
In 1993, I was living in my car.
Yeah,
and that was about the time I got this and listened to this a lot in the car.
Yeah,
and a lot of those actually albums got stolen because when you're living in your car, you encounter a lot of different people.
Yes. Especially, and you were living in your car with another person.
I was he pawned a lot of my shit.
Yeah. So that can happen as well.
Yes.
A tip for people: if you're going to live in a car, live by yourself.
Well, there were benefits to having a roommate in the car. Yeah.
Like,
well, I was living in my car. I eventually got a job. And I was working at night, and I was trying to earn a living, and he was, while I was working at night, burglarizing churches.
Oh yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah,
I forgot about that guy. What, like, I guess other than the collection plate, like, what do you steal from a church? Do you go full Viking style and steal all of like the candles and shit? Because
it was the band equipment was the big.
Okay,
he would show up at the pawn shop with band equipment.
Yep, that's got to be worth something.
I need to pawn my drums and my bass guitar
and all these bells.
What kind of a band are you in? Shut up! Just take my shit.
Just buy it, please. Yeah, like because I was gonna say you could try full Viking and sell like the candlesticks, but they ain't made out of gold anymore.
No, they're not. They're
not worth as much. You can't bury that somewhere outside the village and take it with you to Valhalla. That's not part of your hoard.
Yeah.
Or you could do that. It just wouldn't be as cool because it's not made of gold.
Right.
And also people frown even more now than they did then about
pillaging a church.
Crazy people barging into a church and pillaging it. So
I really didn't kind of find out about that until a little bit later on, and then it was like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do? And then eventually we both got a place to live.
So that it was no longer your problem.
Yeah, I got an apartment, and he got 3 squares a day.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Did a police officer come up and knock on the window?
That happened a couple of times.
And say, "Excuse me, sir, is your roommate home?"
Shit. You know, he's over
this
here.
guy right here. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and it was weird because I was working at a truck stop, and you know, a lot of people park overnight in a truck stop.
Yeah.
But I'd be done at 7 a.m. and
Walk out to your car.
Walk out to my car, but I thought it would be like in bad form to park and sleep in the business parking lot of business where I was working. So I would
in the day.
So I drove to a different truck stop. And I'd park there.
Oh my goodness!
And he would have been up all night because working, and there would be a roach in the ashtray, and
hey man,
I'd
it's
get
your
sleepy
home.
and go to sleep. Yeah,
it's your home, man.
That's the way it was.
So that was your life listening to Siamese Dream,
and then I kept listening to it after I had a stereo and I had a nice cable spool for a coffee table,
nice.
Like everybody does.
The classic.
Yeah, and then somebody went to an auction and we got you some chairs. It was like 6 chairs, and this tiny apartment, it was just full of chairs, and
that's kind of my experience.
Well, yeah,
I have a lot of chairs,
but this was really weird.
Yeah,
because
there was nothing else in it.
Right,
it was just chairs.
Just chairs.
What's this guy? Is this guy like tying people up? Like, I'm just imagining someone walking in, seeing just chairs.
Yeah.
And especially if you had them all in a line, like what the fuck is this?
What's going on? Yeah.
Is he like, is this like some sort of weird cult thing?
And I had a neighbor at the time too, who was named John, and he was a different kind of fellow. He would come and wake me up at like noon. He'd be pissed, like, lazy bum. I sleep until noon. Like, I got off work at fucking 7 a.m.
Yeah,
dude.
I work at night.
Today would be his 50th birthday, actually.
Oh, happy birthday.
I don't know why I remember that.
Wow, that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, John.
Yeah. He can't hear us.
Oh.
He's alive, as far as I know.
Oh, okay.
As far as I know.
As far as you know.
But yeah, he battled with hearing issues.
I see. Okay. But still, happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, John. Wherever you are, not listening to this podcast.
I really, really thought when you said he can't hear us, you meant that he was dead.
No, that's usually how my stories end.
Yeah, because that's why I was like, these stories almost always, the second line of these stories is almost always, anyway, he's dead now.
He's dead now.
Jesus Christ. No, who's not dead? Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan is not dead.
He's still alive.
He and his gigantic noggin are still
his huge,
banding about.
His huge, shiny noggin. Is it weird? I don't know if it is weird about Smashing Pumpkins because up until recently, with their most recent touring bassist,
sure,
every bassist that they've had has been female.
Has it been every bassist? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, okay, recently, yeah. The most recent bassist
they've had
is not.
3 permanent bassists, and they were all female. Their current bassist is just a touring member of the band.
Right.
And then the lead guitarist, I guess.
It's not James Iha anymore. It's
it's still James Iha.
Is it James Iha?
He got back in, I think.
Because he was with the Perfect Circle with Maynard James Keenan.
Jesus, this guy, poor James Iha.
Yeah.
Being around so many insufferable frontmen. Holy shit.
Yeah.
to just go from Billy Corgan to Maynard James Keenan.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw them in 1993 as well.
A Perfect Circle?
No,
or a Tool. Okay.
Tool.
I should have known it was Perfect Circle didn't become a thing until Tool stopped become. I am having a lot of trouble talking
all right,
tonight.
Man. Maybe if you just down that beer,
if I just drank
smooth
this
you out
whole
a bit.
beer. These are probably, what's the alcohol by volume?
I know Elysian Space Dust is what we're drinking. I can't see it to bring my readers, so I can't. I don't know.
You didn't bring your readers.
It's 6.2 or is it 8.2?
That's not.
It's 8.2.
That's fairly high for a beer.
Yeah, that's a potent beer.
It's a potent beer. But poor James Iha, my God.
Yeah, maybe that's what he has on his profile. Lead guitar player looking for insufferable asshole.
That's his kink.
That's his kink. That's what he enjoys.
He's just got he can't get off unless he's in a band with an insufferable dick.
Right. Yeah. He couldn't get into Megadeth at one point. He tried, but
he really,
they weren't looking for anybody at the moment.
Oh my God. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So do you think this album slaps?
I think it slaps. I think it does in places, at times.
At times, sure.
I mean, it's got a lot of dynamic to it. There's that word again.
Come on.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to come up because it is really the most appropriate term for most of the songs on this album.
Mm-hmm.
I would say overall, to me, it does not slap.
Mm-hmm.
But my priorities, that's not really the word. My conception of what does and does not slap is
different. Yeah.
It is very rooted in fast metal. So,
or even doom metal. There's doom metal that slaps.
I suppose. Like there's a Monolord song that I really like called Empress Rising. That slaps quite a bit.
Sure.
And I guess High on Fire is not a doom band. High on Fire is more of a sludge band.
Yeah.
They're way too fast to be a doom metal band. It's just people kind of lump them in because Matt Pike is in the band.
Sure.
Matt Pike is the band.
Of course.
Anyway, I don't really think this slaps.
You wouldn't say slaps.
I would not say it slaps. It's extremely good, but being good and having the slap are not the same thing.
Absolutely.
Necessarily. So score wise, there was, since this is an extremely popular album and an extremely well, reviewed album, there was a lot of information readily available on Wikipedia.
Sure.
And the score came out to 81%.
Really? Only 81?
There was a bunch of hundreds. There was half as many 80s, and then there was a 70. The 70 kind of brought it down. 81%, but there was a bunch of hundreds in there. Because, this album was as popular as it was also a critical darling.
Sure.
Which is not always the case.
And the funny thing is I remember this album, having this in my CD player, and then a friend of mine, I don't remember why, his name is Kevin, he borrowed my car. I need to borrow your car and drive it to Bismarck. I'm like, okay.
That's a ways, but whatever.
I don't know what I'm going to live in for the next day. and
I guess I'll go sleep in the park.
Yeah, and he was totally like an alternative light rock kind of guy in the day, and he's like, oh, fucking Smashing Pumpkins, this is a great album. I'm like, okay, I can see this just bridged us. Yeah, you can borrow my car.
Yeah, go ahead. I trust you now. Gets into an extremely bad crash. Survives without a scratch. Car is totaled.
That actually happened to me with the guy who lived in my car earlier.
Okay.
Previous with my Datsun.
Oh,
I had a Datsun. Yeah, he drove it to go, I'm going to go have lunch with my mom and dad. And he came back, hey, man, I'm so sorry, bro. So sorry.
But your car's totaled.
Yeah.
That happened
Spilled beer all over myself.
That happened to my dad with my car.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
My first, it wasn't technically mine yet. It was very soon going to be mine when I got my driver's license.
Sure.
A few months later. He was in Bismarck. It was like February, and he was driving it, got up towards an intersection, hit a patch of ice that he didn't see, slid straight into the intersection and got T-boned. He was fine as far as I remember. He might have had some bruises, but he was otherwise completely fine. Car was fucking totaled as shit, though.
Speaking of Kevin.
That 2001.
Yeah.
Pontiac Sunfire.
Oh, the Sunfire.
Oh, the Pontiac Sunfire.
I'm pretty sure that every Sunfire I've ever gazed on was in a terrible wreck. Like later on, caught fire, burned to the axles, something happened to it.
You don't see too many of them anymore.
I don't know.
There's not many. I felt like they were around quite a bit for a while.
I was working for a radio station that gave away a Sunfire.
Oh, God.
Gave away, and it was at...
How difficult was that?
It wasn't difficult. It was really hyped.
Okay.
Gave away a Pontiac, and the guys, thanks for the Sunfire. And then like in the paper within the week... He was in the paper having demolished the fucking
thing. At least you weren't giving away a Chrysler PT Cruiser.
Sure. Did we do? No, we didn't do that yet.
Oh, God. Yeah. I remember seeing one of the funniest headlines I ever saw. Well, not a headline. Post titles I've ever seen on Reddit was PT Cruiser owners of Reddit. What horrible misfortune burdened you with your vehicle?
What regrets do you have?
And the top one was my grandmother died and somebody had to take the car. I really needed one. I've been trying to get rid of it for years.
Oh, no.
But yeah, and the thing is after that Sunfire got totaled, guess what car we got as a replacement for like $2,500?
Oh, no. What was that?
A 2-door 2005 Pontiac Sunfire.
Oh, boy.
That was a decent enough car.
And it became your car? Or?
Yeah, it became my car. And then my sister totaled it.
Sure, of course.
So, yeah, white Pontiac Sunfires don't have a good track record in my family.
Or at all.
Just ever, anywhere. So, yeah, next time, if my sister ever asks to borrow my car, I'm going to, if it's the winter, I'm definitely saying no. I love you, Hannah.
But she's in a place where she can get her own damn car now at this point, right?
Oh, yeah, she had her own car at the time. It was just, there was something wrong with it. She took it down back home. She was in college at the time, took it back home to have my dad look at it or take it to Napa. While it was there, she drove my car back up here where she was living at the time. And I was driving my dad's truck for a little bit. And then I was very soon afterwards continuing to drive my dad's truck for about 3 months.
Because your car was gone.
Yeah, my car was gone. But yeah, I got my Corolla out of that eventually. I got my college car a year early.
And you still have it.
I still have it. It's a damn fine car.
See, my car at the time was I had a brand new 1992 Dodge Colt.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's what I was living in.
No, was it comfy?
It was comfy. It was comfy. And remember,
what seat did you sleep in? Did you sleep in the driver's seat?
I slept in the driver's seat. Yes.
With it folded back?
Yeah, because it was bucket seats and they were all reclining. I'd get in there and my roommate would already be sleeping in the passenger side, and then I'd drive away and then go park. You know, and it was weird. I don't know if you remember, there was a part in history where I think it was it President Obama who did the buyback thing of the junker cars? Remember?
I don't remember
There was a program. It was they bought back a whole lot of, because there's a lot of people driving around in a $200 car like me.
Yeah.
And so they did a program where they would the government would buy these cars and then trash them and then, for parts or for steel.
And what did you get out of it?
Well, what happened after that was, you could no longer buy a $200 car.
Oh.
Now every piece of shit you were going to buy was going to be at least $3,000.
Yeah. Okay. That kind of sucks.
It does kind of suck.
I don't remember ever hearing about that.
Yeah. So my first car was a Chevy Vega, $200. My next car was a Pontiac Granville, $200. And then a Datsun. I think I splurged for $250 on that one.
Oh,
yeah.
It was the cup holders.
It was a cup holders, and it was 5-speed. It was manual. It's great. Loved it.
See, I don't know how to drive stick.
Wow.
I grew up in the country in North Dakota. Don't know how to drive stick. I don't know if anyone in my mom and dad know how to drive stick, but they have not driven stick.
Sure. I mean, where are you going to get one?
Yeah. I mean, you can buy manual transmissions anywhere. They're just not very popular in the U.S.
It's hard to find.
You go over to Europe, however, fucking everything is manual transmission. Sure. They don't like automatic transmissions in Europe. So, yeah, I don't know. I
love my manual transmission. It was great.
Yeah, and they have they have their benefits and whatnot. I'm at the point where I don't need to learn that. I don't like. You tell someone from Europe that you don't know how to drive a manual, and they're like, "How do you not know how to drive a manual? How do you survive?" Because there's no manual cars in this fucking country. That's how.
It's all automatic transmissions.
So anyway, back to the album, I suppose. Smashing Pumpkins. What's your favorite song on this year album? Siamese Dream.
It really it switches. I mean, I like Today. I liked Quiet.
Every song
Cherub
on
Rock.
Here, yeah.
I mean, they're all different. They'll play to a different emotion. Like Space Boy was my favorite for a long time.
I really liked Space Boy.
Yeah.
The ones I wrote down Today, Soma, and Silverfuck.
The Silverfuck is a great song
because they feel pretty different. Each one of those feels fairly different.
And the one everybody's heard off of this
is Cherub Rock.
Is actually Disarm.
Yeah, Disarm. I was gonna say I considered writing that. And I was like, is that too cliche? is saying Disarm is your
song.
favorite. It is a really, really good song. I think we had it on the radio station in college. Yeah, it is like every song on this album has something I really like about it. And like we haven't really talked about, I guess we haven't talked too much about the substance of the songs on these album, on this album. If you've not heard Smashing Pumpkins before, I guess this kind of describes a lot of their music. Is it shifts between this very sort of warm, fuzzy guitar tone. They're really good riffs, really well written. It's not riff driven. It's not guitar driven music.
But it is guitar music.
Yeah, it is. It is guitar music, but
there's
is
no
not
keyboards in there.
Yeah.
Well, there's some, but I mean,
there's some Mellotron and stuff like that, but it is not like it is not focused on the guitar the way that metal is.
More melody driven.
Yeah, it is very much the melody comes from the singing, and really like Billy Corgan's singing it's weird in a lot of ways because he sings like he is in a metal band. Right. At least that's the way I interpret it, is he's singing like he is in a thrash metal band, because there's some stuff that is like got an amount of grit to it that doesn't seem to match the tone of the music. It works with it, but you wouldn't expect someone to be singing over the music you're hearing in a manner that sounds so tortured and sort of angry and everything. Like there's a lot of his a lot of the way he phrases certain things seems to carry a lot of bite and a lot of still a lot of like disdain and right. There's something to his voice. I really like it, but it's like he sounds very different, except for one song where he sounds just the tiniest bit like Eddie Vedder for a little bit. I'm trying to remember what song that is.
What does he sound like Eddie Vedder?
I'll have to find it later on. I don't remember exactly what it is. It's also the song itself kind of sounds like a Pearl Jam song. Okay. So that might be why.
I'm trying to think which came out. I have a feeling like 10 came out after this did.
I don't know. I don't know
that came out. It was late 91 or 92.
I don't know when Pearl Jam became a thing. All I know is that was the vibe I got. Was like, this is kind of sort of Pearl Jammy. Yeah. And like after their first album, they, like I said, people were saying Smashing Pumpkins was going to be the new Nirvana, which is weird because Nirvana wasn't really all that big yet. Yeah, it was not that big yet.
I feel like, did this come out the same year as, the baby with the
in utero?
No, the one before that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! What is wrong with me? Never mind.
Hi.
Never mind's the name of the album.
My kitty has decided to join us.
Hi, kitty.
But they were contemporary. Yeah. I think Nirvana blew up before they did. But they a lot of this, like in vibe, it feels like grunge, but in structure it is not.
Believe it or not, there is a little bit of a Chicago sound in this. What this is
a Chicago sound. Explain the Chicago sound.
These guys, Stone Temple Pilots, that sort of thing.
You did a stellar job explaining that.
I set it up and dropped the bat. That's what I did.
OJ, I'm a millennial. I need more details about this old ass music. Hand me the bottle opener so I can continue drinking my IPAs like a filthy millennial. Hey,
I'm not a millennial. I enjoy me an IPA.
You dirty Gen Xer.
I'm a dirty Gen Xer.
That was something I thought was kind of funny is what Billy Corgan said about Melancholy is he said, we're setting out to make the wall for Gen X. That's paraphrasing, but I'm paraphrase of an actual quote by Billy Corgan. If you want to know what kind of person Billy Corgan is.
Because that's how important. Yeah, okay.
Look, Melancholy is a very important album.
Sure.
It outsold Siamese Dream and was also reviewed extremely highly. So it's a very important album. It's just some of the conceit of Billy Corgan in particular is kind of makes you roll your eyes. But
yeah,
you can't deny the man is very talented. But
sure,
there's a lot of very talented assholes out there in the world.
There are.
Oh boy. So, what sort of medal are you bestowing upon this?
I would give it a gold medal. I mean, yeah. I
think by virtue of it being like not quite like I really, really, really like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm going to listen to more Smashing Pumpkins because it's their discography is something that I've like always been like, I don't know if I want to listen to it.
Yeah.
But like, because I remember being a teenager and starting to get into metal and hearing Bullet with Butterfly Wings on the trailer for Dead Space 2 and going, this song is awesome, and listening to the song and going, this song is awesome, and then listening to other stuff from Melancholy and going, what the fuck is this? This is not the same thing. What the fuck is this shit?
That was a bad example of what this album is.
And so like I remember being confused and it's always sort of left this impression of me of like Smashing Pumpkins is not what you think it is. It's not metal. It's not. So
if you listen to Tonight. I mean, it's not.
Yeah. Or 1972 or whatever.
79.
79.
Yeah.
The one with the year.
1979.
Sure. I believe you.
Mm-hmm. I played it on the radio.
But it sort of left this taste in my mouth of just like Smashing Pumpkins, whatever. But now I feel like I need to go back and listen to it because it's an important work, just like Siamese Dream is. I personally gave it a silver just because it's, I like it, but it's I don't like it as much as some of the other things we've also called gold. So. But it is worthy of it.
It was important to me in my discography in there for him.
And I think it is certainly worthy of a gold. It's just I'm not giving it.
No.
I'm not giving it one, which is a weird, silly thing to say.
No, it's not a silly thing to say. You should be precious with your medals.
I'm precious with my precious medals. My precious. No.
Don't want to do it too loudly because it hurts.
Yeah, it does.
That's the main reason. So next week I'm going to be bringing an album, and I think it's time. It's been a year since the last time we talked about the Wonder Years.
Okay.
So I think it's time for their newest album. Came out in 2018. It's called Sister Cities.
Okay.
It's an album that I love very dearly.
Was it when was The Greatest Generation? That was
The Greatest Generation was 2013.
2013.
Then in 2015 they came out with No Closer to Heaven, which is also really good. But I think Sister Cities is a little bit more relevant to talk about.
Cool.
We'll talk about that next week because
I'm down.
I really, really like that sort of stuff. And then we'll get on with the month. It's non-metal March, everybody. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy some easy listening. Some easy, smooth listening. It's totally not going to be, my albums are totally not going to be a whole bunch of stuff that just exists to make me sad, though.
No, certainly
totally not.
No.
Not at all.
Holy shit.
I'm totally totally not leaning into the emo this month. I mean, there's only so many times I can say I'm an emo kid that never had his emo phase. And so I skipped straight into metal. And so now the metal I like is the stuff that makes me cry. So anyway,
I'm debating what my next one will be. I had an idea and I thought we'd do that one, but maybe not. I don't know.
You're talking about.
I am talking about.
I can't remember the name. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Trout Mask Replica.
Oh, I was I was thinking of Butthole Surfers.
Oh yeah, Independent Worm Saloon. Yeah,
but
I thought about bringing that one too.
But you know what? If we want to listen to Trout Mask Replica, then we can listen to Trout Mask Replica.
I also thought about maybe some Red Hot Chili Peppers. Maybe some.
It's also an option I'm open to.
I don't know if Alice in Chains counts as not metal.
That's an edge case. I think that's very much an edge case.
Or Soundgarden.
Yeah. I'm open. I'll look. I was gonna go crazy eventually.
It was inevitable. You were gonna snap.
Trout Mask Replica might as well be the thing that sends me over the edge.
Okay.
It may as well be Trout Mask Replica.
I mean, I can hear Frownland playing in my head right now. What a great fucked up song.
If you out there have no idea what the fuck we're talking about,
Captain Beefheart and his magic band.
Yeah, just look up Captain Beefheart and his magic band, and your questions won't be answered. You will in fact have more questions, but you know, part of the mystery will begin to unravel. What you're making the most terrifying face possible after saying, ooh.
I had a possible idea that might even be better than that. A band I've been talking about for a long time that I've never made you listen to.
Okay.
I'm thinking about making you listen to The Residents.
Would you be a thing
that if Captain Beefheart was, he was still alive,
Captain
he probably heard
Beefheart-
it and went, man, that's fucked up. I can't even listen to this.
This is weird even for me. Like I said, if I'm going to go insane, it may as well be Residents.
Yeah, maybe a Third Reich and roll.
Whatever you choose, I am here for.
Duck Stab Buster and Glenn. I don't know.
What you have so many ideas. You need to narrow it down to one.
All right.
And then later this month, do we wanna make time to watch The Fanatic?
I started to watch it. With my wife. And then I turned to Roberta and I said, maybe I should save this for Kale. She's like, yeah, maybe you should save this for when you watch it with Kale
and get drunk. Maybe you should save this for when you get drunk and watch dumbass movies with Kale.
Yeah, because she's like, I do not fucking want to watch this anymore.
So, yeah, I think maybe. And to carry on the tradition of March that we started last year with Lords of Chaos, we can watch this Fanatic.
It's been a year. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's been a year since we watched Lords of Chaos. So we're also we're on episode 94, so we got a month and a half until we hit 100. It's weird.
That's so weird.
And still nobody's listening.
You know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
It's fine.
On that note, thank you,
for
whoever
those
you are, for listening.
Thank you, blood relatives of Cale Borner.
You lucky few. Thank you for listening. If this is the sort of thing that you like for some reason, you can consider subscribing to us on Libsyn or on iTunes. If you've got one of those services you prefer, go ahead and do that. You can check out our social media pages. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We don't really post any sort of like annoying engagement things. Be like, what do you think of this? It's just new episodes, and you can.
I've been neglecting retweeting stuff or tweeting about it. Hey, check out the podcast, because people who follow me on Twitter don't. People who follow me on Twitter are generally bots.
Yeah. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not preaching to the bots.
Yeah, preaching to the bots. That could be a band. And the thing is there robot flies?
Sure, bot flies.
Robot flies. That's the band name, right?
Robot flies.
Bot flies. We're doing it.
Sure,
we're gonna do it. That's gonna be our grindcore project.
Robot flies.
It's a grindcore and like electronic sort of fusion band. I don't know how to make electronic music, but I feel like it's just a lot. Like I could get samples of like different sounds and just distort the hell out of them.
Sure.
And that's good enough, right?
That might be good.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get James Eha to play lead guitar.
Neither. No. Yeah. We're insufferable, but for the wrong reasons.
We're not full of ourselves. We're full of something. But but it ain't us.
It ain't the egos.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Cale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations!